You see the message thread sitting there. You feel that pull to say something first, to check in, to start the conversation, but your thumb hesitates above the screen, and you close the app instead. You tell yourself, if they wanted to talk, they would text me. People might joke that you're cold, distant, or bad at communication, but they have no idea how many texts you write in your head and never send, or how much you actually care about not bothering anyone. Psychology says that not texting first is almost never about being heartless or lazy. It's usually about fear, sensitivity, and protection. Your brain and your attachment system have learned rules about who is safe, when it's okay to reach out, and what it means if someone doesn't reply. When you understand that, this habit stops looking like disinterest and starts looking like a very cautious form of love. One of the biggest things at play here is rejection sensitivity. That's just a fancy way of saying your nervous system reacts strongly to the possibility of being ignored, judged, or brushed off. If you've ever texted first and waited hours for a reply, watching those 3 dots appear and disappear, your brain remembers that discomfort. Research shows that anticipation of social rejection activates the same brain regions involved in physical pain. That's why it feels so sharp. So your mind tries to protect you by avoiding that risk altogether. By not texting first, you're trying to avoid the sting of feeling unwanted. It's not that you don't care. It's that you care so much that the idea of reaching out and getting silence back feels unbearable. Attachment theory is also running quietly in the background. If you grew up with people who were inconsistent, sometimes warm and sometimes distant, or made you feel like you were too much when you needed attention, your brain may have learned that it's safer to wait and see if others come to you. People with anxious or sensitive attachment styles often have this push and pull inside. They deeply want connection, but they're afraid of being a burden, so they force themselves to stay still and wait for proof that they are wanted first. Not texting first is your way of saying, if they reach out, then maybe I am safe with them. Maybe I'm not forcing myself into their life. It's a cautious strategy that once protected you, long before smartphones even existed. There's also a lot of high empathy hiding in this habit, because you imagine other people's inner worlds so vividly. You might overestimate how busy, stressed, or overwhelmed they are. Psychology calls this theory of mind, the ability to imagine what others are thinking and feeling. When you think, I don't want to annoy them, or they probably have better things to do, that's your empathy talking. You're prioritizing their imagined comfort over your own desire to connect. You may also hate the idea of someone feeling pressured to reply, so you step back, hoping that this gives them space and proves you're not clingy. It looks like distance, but underneath, it's actually deep respect and consideration. Perfectionism and overthinking also sneak in. You don't just fire off the first words that come to mind. You mentally test 10 different openings. You wonder, which one sounds needy? Which one sounds boring? Which one sounds too much? This constant evaluation is a form of cognitive load, your brain working hard to avoid social mistakes. Research on social anxiety shows that people who overthink their impressions often delay or avoid taking action at all. So that simple, "Hey, how are you?" text carries a huge weight in your mind. It has to be perfect, or it feels safer not to send anything. This isn't laziness. It's overcare, turned inward until it paralyzes you. And finally, there is a quiet strength in having strong boundaries about initiation. By not always texting first, you're also gathering information about who values you enough to reach out. Psychology calls this behavioral data. You're watching patterns, noticing who only replies but never starts, who disappears unless you chase, and who actually shows up on their own. This is how you slowly build a circle of people who choose you, not just people you keep alive through constant effort. It may hurt sometimes, but it also protects you from one-sided relationships and teaches you that your energy is worth conserving. So if you rarely text first, it doesn't automatically mean you're cold or that you don't care. It often means your nervous system is highly sensitive to rejection. Your empathy is strong. Your standards for communication are high. And your heart quietly wants proof that you matter, without having to beg for it. Next time you catch yourself staring at someone's name, feeling that familiar mix of wanting to talk and being scared to reach out, try asking yourself, is this silence coming from fear or from a boundary I'm proud of? And if you want more videos that unpack your so-called bad habits as understandable psychology, subscribe. Share this with someone who secretly never texts first. And keep learning that your way of caring is not wrong, just carefully protected